this jet doesn't do well in the charter. And my impression of is the guy who's not a pilot is chartering a jet. His expectation is a jet. And when he shows up, and now on paper, he picks the Eclipse because it's the cheapest thing.
Yeah.
But when he shows up, he's expecting, this air stair, and all his friends are going to get in with tables and chairs and everything.
Walk around.
And he gets in here, and it's like a little SUV.
Yeah.
He's like, wait a minute, this isn't a jet.
It is about the size of an SUV.
Yeah. But if you can, the only successful operation, I don't know if there is one yet, is if you can control the customer's expectations of what they're actually going to be getting in. If they know what they're getting in and they're paying for it, then I think this would be a successful charter.
Yeah, set the appropriate expectations.
Correct. Yeah. That, hey, you're paying this amount because it is a little airplane. But it still will get you to your destination in a minimal amount of time and safety.
And when we get to Kankakee, we're going to do 2-2?
Yeah, 2-2. From Koyap.
That sounds familiar.
Yep.
Was that the same one Greg flew?
Uh-huh.
Okay. And then if we want to go to 2-2, show me how to edit that again.
So
it's runway 2-2.
Let me back up and show you the whole deal here. So, let me stand by. You didn't save this, did you? The active flight plan?
No.
Okay. Never had to do this, but
edit the route?
Well, no, I was trying to erase the active, and I don't think there's a way, so I'm just going to have to replace it.
Delete it.
All right, so now I'm going to, I'll just save one, create.
Wait a second, it should still be in there.
You think?
Yeah.
Well, if it is,
I saved it under BYS.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, that's right. Look in the middle of things, BYS.
There it is.
Right there. Yeah.
Oh, Colorado Springs.
No.
Oh, there it is, Kankakee.
That one there.
Oops. Oh, good. Perfect. All right, great. All right, so here we are going direct to Kankakee, right? If I were to load the approach like you just did, let's you can see we're going direct to Kankakee, right? Let me open up this. Okay, so we've got going direct to Kankakee. So load the approach. Go ahead and load it, just because it's, unless you want me to do it. Procedure. Runway 22. Koyap. Okay, so now, when I execute this is, in my opinion, one of the things that the IFMS doesn't do very well, and that is, there's a philosophy that the IFMS has said, when you get the flight plan, it's going to display the flight plan in the logical order of flying it. So when would you fly the approach? After the destination or before the destination?
Before.
Before. Now Garmin does it after the destination because Garmin wants the flight plan to mimic your clearance.
Okay.
IFMS wants your flight plan to mimic the chronological order of things.
Right.
So when you take off and your clearance is direct to Kankakee, are you cleared the approach?
No.
No. So in the IFMS world, when I load the approach, it's going to load it in the chronological order, which is going to screw up my clearance. In other words, right now I'm going direct to my destination. When I activate this, execute it, it's going to stick the approach before the destination, right here. And as you can see, it just got rid of my direct to Kankakee. And if I go, if I realize, oh crap, I am no longer navigating on the FMS because it just did, the magenta line just disappeared. So now, and my current waypoint is Koyap, so actually it's going direct to Koyap, which is not what I'm cleared to do. So if all of a sudden you realize that mistake and go highlight Kankakee again and go direct, it gets rid of the approach.
Okay.
It's like, hey, how do I do this? How do I go direct to Kankakee and be ready for the approach?
Okay.
And there's only one way. You've got to basically do what Garmin does. You've got to load a waypoint. As you can see, this is the destination waypoint because it says destination. When I drop down the menu, it gives me the destination option of procedure.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert after, because remember, insert always, it goes afterwards. I'm going to insert a waypoint, and the waypoint is going to be KIKK.
Okay.
Well, now that's weird. I've never seen that before. Huh. That's news to me. Anyway, it should, I mean, it worked in Greg's. For some reason, your database is not recognizing KIKK. I don't know why. But anyway, once you do that, it will create a waypoint that looks like this, that doesn't have a title to it. It's just a waypoint, KIKK, which you can go direct to.
Okay.
And then you can load the approach, and the approach will appear after the KIKK waypoint, but before the destination.
Okay.
And so you can continue direct to KIKK while you still have the approach loaded.
What I think I was asking was, if, let's say that you're going direct Kankakee, but you'd like to be at the threshold of 22. Let's say you're not even doing an approach.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, so you want runway 22 threshold versus runway 04.
Correct. Yep. And we're going to try that. But what I believe, because I don't know if I've tried this or not, but what I believe, based on what my knowledge of the IFMS is, it will be an angle too steep. And the reason being that the RW22 waypoint, let me load it up here. This waypoint called RW22 is a fly-over waypoint. And if you try to go direct to it from an angle, it will not be able to fly over the waypoint. But let's find out. Let's find out. Because this designates a fly-over waypoint. And all runway waypoints we know are fly-over by design. This is a fly-by. It's a star without the circle. This is a fly-by, fly-by. This should be a star with the circle, because a final approach fix is always a fly-over waypoint. I've seen this in the IFMS, that the ISNS company that codes these waypoints gets them wrong sometimes. They'll code a fly-by waypoint as a fly-over, and it completely screws up the approach. And I would say for at least 2 or 3 years, I was keeping track of all those approaches and where they were and the wrong thing, and I kept sending them to ISNS, and
nothing happened.
Nothing happened. I was basically sending it to a black hole.
All right, is there anything else I can set up before we go?
Let's just take a look here. I want to just do this again. This is really confusing me why it's not accepting KIKK. And that one worked. I have no idea what the deal. So now we've got it set up correctly where now we can go direct to KIKK.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we still have the approach loaded. And that's the end game that I was trying to get to.
So putting the destination in front of the approach.
The approach, exactly.
I think, didn't they do away with duplication? Like, for example, if you're doing the DeBerry, Lamar into Colorado Springs is the Lamar LAA dot Aussie 5.
Yeah.
But let's say that you had LAA in front of that, it just gets rid of that because we don't need double waypoints. And I wonder if that's what was going on.
Oh, I don't know. Maybe that because the only thing we had in the flight plan was KIKK as a destination, and it wasn't accepting it again. But it accepts it here.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It accepts it here because we have the approach in there, so I don't know.
Okay. Well, I think I would propose we go to the departure end and then see if we can get them on the ground.
Yeah, let's try that.
Then we'll see if we can get it.
Yeah, because I was surprised with that frequency. Because when I've gone IFR out of here before, I couldn't talk to him until I was like 2,500 feet.
3,000.
I got you 3,000. I got squawk of 4331.
Okay.
260 on the heading. Really, 260?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Does he know we're going to Kankakee?
That does seem a little strange.
Yeah, I would have asked him about that one.
KIKK, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we're good to go. See, now I can use this button. Boy,
to answer your question, I guarantee you do that at Crestview.
I bet you I do.
I guarantee it.
All right, let's see, am I all set to go? Takeoff config. I think so.
Illinois Valley traffic, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo departing 36 to the east. Illinois Valley traffic.
Heading of 260.
I wonder if he said 360. I bet he said 360.
I bet he did too, now that you mention it.
All right. Engine failure after VR. Here we go.
Landing gear, landing gear, landing gear, landing gear.
Climb a little bit more, make sure we don't hit any
Yeah, you're doing great.
wires or anything. Fly VYSC,
Yeah.
climb a little bit more. Okay,
now
we'll level off.
Yeah, now, there was no need to pull the nose up because did we have any obstacles in front of us?
No.
No, so I would just let it keep climbing. Because what you did is you just did this 200-foot pop-up.
Well, chasing the BYSE.
That's what I said.
Okay.
We just did this 200-foot pop-up, and now you're back to accelerating to get the flaps up, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now
So
I'm going to lower the nose.
we could have just started the acceleration to get the flaps up right away. There was no reason for this 200-foot pop-up.
Okay. I agree.
If there were obstacles, absolutely. That's what I would have done.
Okay, gear is up. Flaps are up.
There you go. Climb at 120. It looks like 125. And understand that the flight directors aren't helping you.
Okay. Switch over here to Chicago.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, passing through 2,000 for 3,000.
26 Zulu Echo, Chicago Center, radar contact 3 miles north of the Illinois Valley Airport. And you're cleared to direct Kankakee now, maintain 3,000.
Clear direct Kankakee, 3,000, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Number 6 Zulu Echo, the Valley altimeter is 29 or 9 or 7.
29 or 9 or 7, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
I forgot to set that.
Yeah, keep flying the flight directors.
Zulu Echo, climb and maintain 4,000.
I maintain 4,000, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
There, now watch what the autopilot's going to do. It's going to stick it right in those wingtips.
80 X-ray, rudder.
Don't give up on the rudder.
And you are cleared to direct to, did you want to go to Bucklaw, or L-A-R-T-E, Larte?
Now you got to pay attention to that. And unfortunately, because the yaw damper's on, you got to push through the yaw
clear
damper.
direct Lart for the RNAV, runway 6 in the Pontiac.
There you go.
Temperature 17, so we don't need ice.
Very good. MCT. Alright, so now you evaluate what's going on and you look up and there's a red cast that says left engine fail.
So we know that the only thing left to do is turn off the switch if you're going back.
Exactly right.
6 Zulu Echo, climb maintain 5,000.
I maintain 5,000, Eclipse 6 Zulu Echo.
Fairway 2524, connect Chicago approach 132.17.
It was about 125, I think it was.
At this point, there's really no reason to fly VYSE right now, correct?
Yeah. What's the best way to climb at single engine? VYSE.
Okay. All right.
And what I'm also doing is I'm simulating what the machine would do. The machine wouldn't go to CLB, it would go to VYSE.
Roger.
Landing gear.
Wisconsin 6051, Chicago Center, hello, descend and maintain 7,000.
When you climb 2-engine in a normal day and you push altitude change, the bug goes to the CLB reference speed, right?
Safe flight conditions.
Do you ever change that?
Sometimes, especially if it's hot temperatures up high.
Southwest 3390, Chicago Center, descend via the ND arrival.
You go a little slower or go into pitch or something?
I'll have it on auto throttle and I'll turn it down just a little bit to get a little bit of climb performance.
In the high altitude there, yeah.
November 6 Zulu Echo, is it smooth there?
Affirm, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
6 Zulu Echo, roger, change to my frequency 123.75.
12375, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
I should have just
Delta,
changed and then talked to him.
Exactly. 123.75.
I like that.
So I increased my pitch a little bit here for VYSE.
Nope.
We're level now.
No, you're level. Yeah, so what I'm getting at is
3792, clear direct in
if
by the floor.
VYSE is the best way to climb a single engine, that's what I'm going to use everywhere.
They just switched 2275.
It's the same reason why I'm going to use CLB reference speed everywhere, because it's just the best way to climb.
2375.
6 Yankee Delta, Chicago, roger, Valley altimeter 29.
If I'm 2-engine.
97.
Wisconsin 6051, descend and maintain 6,000.
I'll start at Koyap once you get permission. I forgot to put practice approaches in under remarks.
That's all right.
East of
You can tell them that.
and maintain 3,000 until Lart. You're clear for the RNAV 6 approach in the Pontiac. Report established.
Maintain 3,000 until
See what the weather is doing there.
Established, cleared for the RNAV 6 approach in the Pontiac 618 X-ray.
Got SkyWest 3792 negative, maintain 10,000. November 16 Juliet, contact Chicago approach, runway
wind is 02,
119.35 for
12 to 18 knots. 1300 broken.
Wow, 020.
6051, contact
It's clocked around.
128.72.
So let's do the RNAV to 4.
Envoy 4176 Chicago Center to send via the Shane 2 arrival, air altimeter 2996. Southwest 3792 to send maintain 9,000. That's for SkyWest.
Start go direct to Seaway if he'll give it to us.
9,000.
There you go.
Number 925 Alpha Romeo, connect Chicago Center 134.82.
And he is in the service industry. He'll give it to you. So this is the same thing that happened to Greg. It recalculated your direct from back here, which is just a little off.
105 Chicago Center to send via
So you just have to redo the direct.
906.
Okay.
It's a Kankakee. It's a Kankakee. There you go. Like I said, it's a bug, in my opinion, in the IFMS. And it has everything to do with how IFMS calculates IF. Screws it up sometimes.
And are we going to do several several approaches down there?
Yeah, 2 approaches.
Southwest 3390, clear direct to ND to send via except maintain 9,000.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo request.
November 6 Zulu Echo, go ahead.
Yes, we would like the RNAV 4 approach. We'll do a couple approaches. We'd like to go direct Seaway.
November 6 Zulu Echo, clear direct Seaway.
Clear direct Seaway, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
And the altitude there, 23 would be nice.
Southwest 3792 to send and maintain 6,000. I said Southwest SkyWest. SkyWest 3792 to send and maintain 6,000.
They will brief the approach. Okay, we do have runway 4. The minimums will
Number
be
824,
but can we do LNAV?
yeah,
Let's do LNAV on the second approach.
Okay.
We'll do the single engine LPV.
So
We do have the weather at Pontiac 618.
minimums,
Roger. And
824.
6 Zulu Echo, verify you have the weather and NOAA's Kankakee.
We'll get those right now, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Roger, just let me know when you get it.
Okay, weather, Kankakee, yeah, I just looked at it.
I think he means the ASOS.
Same
Or
difference, is it
A1.
not?
It should be.
39er, contact Quad Cities approach, 1 tree.
As long as your ADS-B in and all that stuff is working, but I wouldn't trust it.
Okay.
I like
November 7, 9er, 439er.
I like to hear it live.
133.27.
12847.
27 for 439.
SkyWest 3792, connect Chicago approach, 119.35.
3, Gus, 1, 7, visibility, 10,
November 439er, Quad Cities approach, 133.27.
broken, 2,800. Overcast, temperature, 23 Celsius. Dew point, 20. Altimeter, 29er. 2. Remark. Density altitude 1,800. Greater Kankakee Airport, automated weather observation. 19er, 100, weather, wind 360 at 13, gust 17, visibility 10, ceiling 1,300, broken 2,800, overcast, temperature 3 Celsius, dew point 20, altimeter.
A little different.
Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo has the weather at Kankakee.
November 6 Zulu Echo, Chicago, roger. Descend and maintain 4,000.
Descend and maintain 4,000, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
76 at Shane, reduce speed to 300. Fairwings 105, maintain 300 knots even. November 0 Juliet Papa, safe flight conditions.
It's amazing how bright it is when you're in the clouds. It's like, no kidding.
Chicago Center, clear direct Shane, cross Shane at 12,000. Steel hair altimeter is 2996.
Should I tell him now we'd like to do 2 approaches, same approach twice?
Yeah, whenever. Just say, hey, once we get into Kankakee, we're going to do 2 approaches and then pick up our IFR coming back to Illinois Valley.
Okay.
And Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
But
And we'd like to do 2 approaches, same approach, twice, RNAV 4, and then pick up our IFR to come back to Illinois Valley.
roger.
Perfect.
Like it.
And Southwest 3309, just to verify you are descending via accept 9.
We'll come in at 23, and we don't have to descend, so we can just pick up our glide path.
And maybe you'll come in at 23. Depends on what he can give you. He might not be able to get you down at 23. So you may need that hold to descend, depending on the altitude he clears you at. Like we talked about with Greg coming in.
Southwest 33.
He prematurely got rid of the hold based on the lateral decision.
Without it taking into account altitude.
The vertical decision, yeah. And I said, well, you know, it'll all work if we get down low enough, but if he can't get us lower than 4,000, you're going to need that to descend.
Yeah, that's good information.
And the problem is you don't know. You don't know what his limitations are as far as his altitude limits. This is one of those where, this is one of those where we are almost perfectly 90 degrees from that final approach course. And so you going directly left turn to start the approach, you doing the procedure turn to start the approach is right both ways. You would not be wrong either way. It's just a matter of
105 connect Chicago approach.
What ATC is going to expect you to do.
132.17.
And when in doubt, just tell them what you're going to do.
Okay.
1725 Mike request 10,500.
Wait until he says.
No, wait till he clears the approach. Yeah, wait till he clears the approach.
Altitude your discretion.
Because right now, you don't know how low he can get you.
Sir, 80 X-ray, maintain 3,000 until established clear for the RNAV 6 approach. Report established inbound if I didn't already give that to you.
he's 123 also.
Established on the RNAV 6 in the Pontiac.
26 Zulu Echo. I'll have your clearance for you shortly.
618.
You know what they call that?
Cleared for the RNAV 6. We'll port when we're established.
Called a zipper.
Thank you.
You just gave him a zipper. Another thing I love about the Eclipse is here we are single engine. You're setting up for an instrument approach. There's really nothing you do differently.
Not a whole lot going on.
Other than we're just going to delay our landing flaps until landing's assured.
You want me to do that as part of the practice of bringing it up to take off first and then accelerate, or doesn't matter?
What do you mean? On the missed approach?
Well, usually we don't take it. Usually we don't. We're doing a missed before we ever put in full landing flaps.
Correct, because what's part of the definition of landing assured?
You have the threshold clearly in sight?
Correct, and we're not going to have that today.
Okay.
We're going to not see anything at 824. You're going to pretend you don't see anything.
Okay.
All right, 0 X-ray, roger.
You won't even get the opportunity
We can do missed
for
approach.
landing assured.
0 X-ray, roger.
I'll need to get his permission to do a missed, won't I?
Frequency.
No, just tell him it's a low approach.
Oh, we're not going missed?
Yeah, low approach.
618 X-ray.
I think you told us that you're automatically cleared for a missed if you're cleared for the approach.
Correct. Yep. But we're going to end up canceling IFR, which means you can do anything you want after the low approach. Oh.
We're not going to stay with him?
No, because we're going to go over to Unicom frequency.
Okay, so we have enough ceiling to work with?
Yeah.
Okay. Getting close here. We're still pretty high.
Yep, which means we may need that procedure turn.
Okay. Strange, it's warmer up here than it was on the ground.
That's sun. The sun's actually beating on us, and down there it's not.
He's 4 miles, he still hasn't told us
Yeah,
what we're going to
I would pretty much anticipate that you're going to get a clearance at 4,000 feet.
Okay. Wait until the last second.
Hey, that's what he did with Greg. We were basically crossing over the IAF when he cleared him.
And Eclipse 260 Echo will be requesting a procedure turn.
Now in this case, I don't know if he forgot or he's busy, but all I do is just say the call sign. Just say Chicago Center 260 Zulu Echo. He'll figure it out.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 260 Echo.
Number 6 Zulu Echo, contact Chicago approach on it's at 132.5. 132.5.
132.5, Eclipse 260 Echo. Approach Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, entering procedure turn at Kankakee.
26 Zulu Echo, Chicago Center, roger. Kankakee altimeter 29902. Good afternoon.
And are we cleared the approach?
Tower 260 Echo, maintain 2,800 feet till established on a segment of approach cleared for RNAV runway 4 to Kankakee. Report Seaway inbound, please.
Okay, cleared the approach, maintain 2,800, we'll report the ceiling, Eclipse 260 Echo.
No, Seaway inbound.
Oh, Seaway inbound.
Yeah, well, maybe I'll give you a little further. Let's report Harrell, H-I-R-I-L inbound.
Roger.
Another thing I love about the IFMS, one of the intuitive things they've done correctly, and that is, and you do get this occasionally, let's say Chicago approach comes back and says, hey, I got IFR traffic on the approach in front of you that hasn't canceled IFR yet. I need you to hold as published at Seaway. How would you do that?
Just leave it on hold continue.
Push it.
Well, it's already on hold continue.
Nope.
Oh.
See, it says, see right here, it says PT only.
Okay.
I mean, it's only due to the procedure turn, so push, hold, continue. And now it says, I'm holding.
Okay.
And you can see it just drew the holding pattern.
Right.
And so now it's going to continue to hold at Seaway until you, now let's say, oh, hey, we just got them to cancel IFR, you're cleared the approach.
Hit approach.
Now you pushed approach before, right?
I don't think I did.
Okay, you must not. And then
cancel?
Yeah. And it's just that easy.
FMS approach.
I mean, it's just that easy. Hold continue and hold approach and hold exit. It's awesome. Or hold cancel, I'm sorry.
Traveler 929, contact Chicago approach 119.35. Make your request with them and have a beautiful day.
Hi, 19.35.
Yeah, we're clear of the approach. We should go down.
Yeah.
23. Happy with the speed. We're still pretty high.
Not that bad. You could capture the glide path up from up here, but
okay.
But 2300 is a great altitude because one, it's the minimum altitude for the procedure turn, and it also happens to be our missed approach altitude.
PT only. So the next event would be our magenta diamond. Drop the gear. Looking for Pearl as our final approach fix. We're at 23. Can't use auto throttle, can I?
Nope.
Is the gear?
No, just because you're single engine.
Single engine. Gear will be coming down soon. Pearl is 12 miles, 12.5.
That's a long way.
Yeah.
Unusually long.
Now, if you were flying this, you'd stay at 23?
Yep.
Okay.
I mean,
it's simple.
You are absolutely in your own right to go down to 1900, but if you did, it's going to take setting 1900, pushing altitude change, monitoring the descent, and then monitoring the level off. And then once you're leveled, then you're going to reach up here and put 2300 back in. Or you could elect to do what I love to do, which is nothing. And it will work.
I'm trying to become lazier.
Yes, very good.
American 1780.
She wants us to report Euro.
Correct. If you go back to your previous, if they can't help you, come back here, and I'll try to help you. But
he doesn't sound like she's in a good mood.
Yeah, you too. Let's probably use her.
Seatbelt knob is forward.
Good one.
Oh, it is now.
Yeah, I'm in a constant free caster mode.
Oh, feel free to
no, it doesn't matter.
release it.
I'm fine.
This time on the go around, instead of hitting heading, I'll change. We'll hit nav, I'll change.
Very good.
catch that.
You're going to get a chance to practice that single engine climb again. Like I said, you're gonna be toga power, pitch, gear up, and remember, you don't have to wait for positive rate on a single engine mist. It's just ground contact, non-eminent. Gear up, and now you're in the configuration of takeoff flaps, VYSE, and you're gonna climb that takeoff flaps VYSE until you are comfortable with that we have cleared all terrain and obstacles, and then you can make the decision to accelerate, get on the new VYSE, get the flaps up, the new VYSE. And for me, if I'm totally in control and I'm aware of my surroundings, do you think there's any obstacles over the runway?
No.
No, so I can do all of that over the runway if I chose to. Because when you go missed approach, how far is the threshold when you push toga in front of you? Because we won't be able to see it.
Maybe quarter mile? Maybe that's too much.
So what is the height above touchdown?
That's your minimums.
No, what's the height above touchdown of our decision altitude?
Okay, 824 field elevation.
It's written next to the 824.
Oh, 200 feet.
Yep. So 200 feet. No, I'm sorry, that's the weather. No, you're right, 200 feet. So what is 200 feet on a 3-to-1?
There's our glide slope, our glide path.
Yep. What I'm getting at is, if it's 300 feet, it's a mile.
Okay.
So it is a far way out there. And it's actually this waypoint, the threshold. Okay. So if you really want to monitor it, but I will tell you that you will have the gear up in the climb VYSE before that.
Okay.
And then we've got another mile of runway. So if you have the wherewithal, you can clean up, get to VYSE over the runway.
Half a mile we have to report.
All right, so I heard a boop, and then I saw this blinking yellow.
Just a second, I have to talk to her, don't I?
Yeah.
Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo is reporting Hurl.
6 Zulu Echo, cancellation of IFR at this frequency, if unable with flight service.
I got this call.
Change advisory frequency is approved. I show no traffic between you and the airport. Have a beautiful day.
Thank you. In 26 Zulu Echo, we can cancel IFR with you, but we want to do one more practice approach with you, and this will be to a low approach, and then we're going to do capture IFR back to Illinois Valley.
All right, 6 Zulu Echo, what is the practice approach? Which one?
The RNAV to 4, and then back to Illinois Valley.
All right, very good. And do you have a fix set for the RNAV to 4 you want to go to?
Yeah, we'll go back to Koyap.
So you're not landing, you're calling me on the mist, or you're just canceling right now and then you want to go direct Koyap now?
No, we're going to cancel with you now, or we can stay IFR through the low approach, doesn't matter to me. But then we're going to do one more approach, RNAV to 4 with you, and then low approach out of that one, and take our IFR back to Illinois Valley.
All right, 6 Zulu Echo, roger. All right, change advisory frequencies first so you can see about the traffic over there, and then just call me, you say you're not doing the mist, but just call me back when you're on your way up.
Copy that.
Kankakee approach, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo doing a low approach on runway 4. Kankakee.
I'm going to get rid of the yellow blinking.
Kankakee traffic, Troy 1 helicopter, 4 to the northwest of the airport, orbiting 1,800 Kankakee.
Approaching minimums. Minimums. Stall. Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
So now take advantage of your extra speed. You're already at VREF plus 20. You're already at VREF plus 20. Boom. Now, your new VUISE will post, so it's going to be about 120, so start climbing. Don't let it go above 120. Don't let your airspeed go above 120.
Do not.
Do not let your airspeed go above 123.
Okay.
Climb, climb, climb. Because that extra airspeed is just giving up the ability to climb. Now you can get in the flight directors and it'll keep you honest. No gap, no gap. No gap. I see a gap. No gap.
I'm trying to get there.
Wingtips. Look at you. You're looking at the nose. Right there. That's what I'm looking for. Right there. Not that.
There's slight difference between our two displays.
Okay, so you're using a bunch of aileron roll, which means you don't have enough rudder.
Okay, you're right.
Put your aileron back to center, and you put in the rudder that will eliminate your aileron roll feeling. Getting those wingtips, getting those wingtips. Come on, get the wingtips. You're looking at the nose. Get the wingtips. You stay on the stick, and I'm going to do what I do with Greg. Stay on the stick.
Okay.
So stay on the stick. This is so you can feel what I'm doing to stay in those flight directors. The stick is almost never stop moving. Even though the airplane doesn't feel like it's moving, I'm just nudging, making little nudges here and there to just stay in those wingtips. And notice how there is no gap. It's welded. And if you're feeling the stick, is the stick ever still?
No.
No. It's because I am working my ass off to keep it in those. Now, once I get to the point, whoa, not enough rudder, rudder problem. I got, here, I'll let you see the stick. See how just, so you got a rudder issue there.
Well, I got my right foot hammered down on it.
Yeah, that's too much. Get the wingtips. There you go. I'm going to switch you back over to her.
Okay.
You are back with her.
Okay. And just tell her we're doing the mist?
Yep, on the mist, we'd like to do the RNAV from Seaway to 4 with a low approach.
In Chicago, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echoes on the mist. We'd like to do the RNAV Force beginning at Seaway.
I know our 26 Zulu Echo ident and Delta again.
We're at 2,300, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Our 26 Zulu Echo, climb maintain 3,000.
Climb maintain 3,000, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
And you got the other engine back when you want it. I'll give you your yaw trim back to center.
Okay, thank you.
In November, 26 Zulu Echo, radar contact 3 miles from Toyap. It was in 2400. You said you want to go over Seaway for which approach?
We'd like to go direct to Seaway to repeat the RNAV 4 approach, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
In November, 26 Zulu Echo, clear direct Seaway at this time.
Clear direct Seaway, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
I'm going to put it on autopilot here, so
Yep. Is what is my active waypoint and what is my active leg? And there's several different places to find your active waypoint. One of the best ways, and it's the biggest way, is right there. Seaway is my active waypoint. It's 1.4 nautical miles away. Actually, we're going away from it, so it's...
Yeah.
And then my active leg, that's a little tougher, but my active leg is on my CDI, but it's also depicted visually on the moving map.
Plus bearing.
That's not an active leg. Bearing is just pointing to Seaway.
Okay. But how did the Seaway get there if it wasn't the active point, next waypoint?
As far as if you call up in the bearing pointer the FMS, it will display the active waypoint. Yes, I agree.
Right.
I thought you meant bearing is the active leg. you're always aware of your active waypoint and your active leg, you will catch problems before they happen.
And just to refresh, it's 2300 is our missed altitude. Yeah. I don't really need the other map now. Don't do tall.
So I liked how you looked up. You looked up 2300 is the minimum altitude in the procedure turn, right? You just said that, right?
Yes. That's the missed approach.
Oh, the missed approach, okay. I thought you meant the 2300 is the minimum altitude in the procedure turn, because we're at 3000 right now.
Yeah. But we can catch the glide path from, never mind. Never mind.
We can. No, but your theory is correct. We can catch the glide path from 3000.
That's true. We'd just be using the wheel.
We'd use altitude change.
That's
but
right.
Because the missed approach altitude is 2300, I might as well get down to 2300 because I'm going to have to set that anyway.
Right.
But you're right. We could stay at 3000. That's right. I'm sorry. If we were doing this as an LPV, we could capture the glide path, but we're not. Keep remembering we're doing an LNAV. So today, we're going to have to go down to 1900, and we're going to have to identify hurl and the whole deal. 2300. What's the minimum in the procedure turn?
2300.
Yeah, so we can't go down until we are not in the procedure turn.
So that you're looking at that right here.
Okay. Where are we?
Procedure turn.
Yep, we're outside of Seaway. So like we said in the briefing room, I'm always asking two questions. What's my next cleared altitude and when am I cleared to it?
Okay.
What are the answers to those two questions? What's my next cleared altitude?
19.
And when am I cleared to it?
After you pass Seaway.
Excellent, which is in 1.3 miles. So once I answer it, I'll put in 1900, and now I just wait for the wind.
Well, there's some lag time in the system. We could probably...
And you're correct. So technique-wise, when we're 0.2 from the waypoint, that's when I press altitude change.
Okay. And could we...
Press it now.
Could we, in theory, go ahead and pop up our minimums?
Not yet.
And then follow it all the way down?
No, not yet. Because what's our minimum altitude in this segment?
19.
Very good. So we got to stay at 19.
But we would be on the, quote, the artificial glide path.
Not yet. We're just passing over Seaway. We got 12 miles to hurl.
Oh, that's true. What if this distance was pretty short?
Doesn't matter. It's
Okay.
1900. We got to cross hurl at 1900.
Okay.
All right. So now that we're green out, level at 1900, we ask the two questions again. What's our next cleared altitude?
That would be our minimums.
Very good. So set those in the altitude select.
Well, I'm going to do that 0.2 of a mile, right?
No. Set those in the altitude select.
It is.
It isn't. Set it in the altitude select. That's your
select.
minimum window.
Okay.
Altitude select is this window.
Okay. 980. I can't get it exact.
You can. How do we set the minimums into the altitude select window?
You punch the center concentric, you highlight this, and then pop it up there.
Do it. Okay. So that's our next cleared altitude. When are we cleared to it?
About 0.2 of a mile before we get to hurl.
Over hurl.
Would do all change.
Over hurl.
Okay. Wait.
The technique, not a procedure, technique is 0.2 prior to hurl. We will push the button because it takes that long for the airplane to react and go down.
Okay.
But the regulatory-wise, we have to be 1900 over hurl, and then we're cleared down.
That sounds right. I also like this part of IFR flying where you start to come down and you see that you're getting close.
All right, give them a call and tell them we are 11-mile final.
Kankakee traffic, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo on an 11-mile final for runway 4, Kankakee.
is 6.5. Looking for 0.2. At 0.2, we'll drop the gear and flaps. 17 degrees of flaps.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody call it 17 degrees.
It bugs me that we're in the landing phase and we're talking about takeoff flaps. So I always think of 17 degrees of flaps.
What's funny is I believe when they first came out, they called it takeoff approach position. Takeoff / approach position. Then they just at some point just shorten it to takeoff. But you're right. It should be technically a takeoff / approach setting.
This is perfect for a recurrent.
It is. This is really cool. And a lot of times we only find these things out with necessity.
But I mean the IMC.
No, that's what I'm saying,
okay, yeah.
But I mean, I like the scenario of being able to go cross-country to give you time to set up.
Real world.
And then go cross-country back to give you time to set up and think. And, yeah, real world.
All right, we're almost there. So because of lag time, we'll do the gear first, flaps, and then I'll change.
Yeah, and with no glide path, I always go 2 miles. So, the technique is 3 to 5, start configuring.
Okay.
But if you're proficient, 2 miles could work. 0.2, 0.2. We're 1.5 miles away.
Oh. 0.2. Oh, sorry.
Again, we have to cross hurl at 1900.
19. Yeah, that's why it's...
So don't get confused with the 0.2. That's just a technique for the Eclipse because of its slow reacting autopilot. All right, we also have a 1300 that we have to monitor. 1300
for crossing.
Yep. So there's 0.2.
Here we go. I'll change.
Very good. And now we're just going to play with the vertical speed wheel. Don't move it yet. Let's see what we get. Go back to that 700 because we're going to have to make sure. We're going to have to make sure that by 1.4 miles we stay above 1,300 feet.
Okay.
For flying this as an LNAV. So we just got to keep looking at distance, and we can play with the vertical speed to make sure that we are definitely there.
That's nice, you got the distance right there.
Yep, 0.7, 0.6, we're 200 feet, 240 feet. It looks like the distance is going to close before we get to the 1,300. Now we got to get the speed, and we got to get into our landing configuration. Are we supposed to be 150?
No.
No. Are we supposed to be takeoff flaps?
No.
No. So things are starting to drop out because other things are occupying our time. All right, here comes the MDA.
Up.
Oh, what are you doing?
Oh, I was trimming.
Why is the autopilot going off?
I was trimming.
Fly the flight directors. Keep you at your MDA. VREF, supposed to be VREF plus 10. VREF plus 10, VREF plus 10. And now we're looking for the runway. We can't see anything yet. Nope. Assume VREF is 90. VREF plus 10 is 100. 100 knots. And now we still can't see the runway. Where's the missed approach point? 0.3 miles away. So we're just going to stay here until we get to the missed approach point. And we still don't see anything go missed approach.
Landing gear. Landing gear. Landing gear.
We're above VREF plus 20. Flaps up, flaps up, flaps up, flaps up. So take care of the flying first, the aviate, then navigate. Okay, so now we got a new altitude going in. See that alert altitude? stick in your missed approach altitude. There you go.
Now we talk to Chicago.
Well, let's just communicate's the last thing. We're aviating. We're navigating. We're making sure that we're flying the published, that we're going to get to the altitude. I'm not in any hurry to talk to anybody.
Troy 1 helicopter orbiting 4 north of the field, 2,000 feet, Kankakee.
How are we doing? Does it look like we're on the published mist?
Hit nav. Now, FMS.
Very good. Works like we're on the right altitude.
Yeah, I think so.
Yep, active waypoint, active leg looks right. Does active waypoint, active leg look right?
No.
Ben Harbor traffic, Skywalker 19 is on a 5 mile final runway 28, Ben Harbor.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me study this a moment.
What's the active waypoint?
Koyap.
Okay, is that a missed approach point?
Yes.
Yep. And what's our active leg?
Between this missed approach and Koyak. Magenta leg.
That all looks right to me.
Yeah.
So all I'm doing is I'm just making sure before I call him that everything is right. All right, now let's call him.
Okay.
On his frequency.
Thank you.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo. Missed approach at Kankakee, looking for clearance back to Illinois Valley.
And I was on the landline. Say it again for me.
Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, IFR back to Illinois Valley.
It's 26 Zulu Echo, Chicago, Roger, and I didn't for me say your altitude. The Kankakee altimeter is 2993.
Ident
2993, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo. We're at level at 2,300.
Chicago Center, Cherokee 2147 kilos with you at 5,000.
Cherokee 2147 kilo, Chicago, the Kankakee altimeter is 2993.
2993, 47 kilo.
And 6 Zulu Echo radar contact 6 miles south of Peatone VLR. What altitude would you like back to Valley?
We'd like 6,000, please.
I can do 6 for traffic for now. Climate maintains 5,000, and you can go direct Valley your discretion.
Okay, climb, maintain 5,000, Illinois Valley direct at our discretion, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
history. And you set at our discretion.
There you go.
There we go. Okay, direct.
Correct. And it makes it the destination.
And we're going up to 5.
Alright, so how did the LNAV work? How did it go?
It was okay until short final. We're way too high.
Way too fast, not in the right configuration. And all that is telling you is a non-precision approach like the LNAV that you don't do too often, in my opinion, is an emergency procedure.
Man, I'm glad to hear you say that.
And so, in your head, when you pull out that checklist, you're thinking emergency procedure. So let's slow everything down. Let's take our time, because this is a great way to find out through recurrent training that, holy cow, this LNAV is a huge handful.
Yes.
And you saw that you stayed ahead of the airplane until you got to the final approach fix, and then everything fell apart.
Thanks.
No, but what's funny is you're not the only one. We all get this bad, but what I'm getting at is it needs to be in the forefront of your mind every time you're flying these things, whether it's a VOR or an LNAV or a circle approach, that this is out of the norm, and in my opinion, out of the norm means abnormal. Abnormal means emergency. Now, we aren't really an emergency, but I'm going to treat it like that. It's what Boeing calls a non-normal.
Go ahead. 670 is 6 miles.
And when we talk about non-normal, we can get behind the airplane really fast.
1,800 feet.
Yes.
Plus radar service.
Even though I was doing stuff, I was listening to what you were saying. I really dislike them. That's why I wanted to include it in the training.
That's 6525, 670.
Because when you're flying the coupled approach LPV, inside the final approach fix, are you worried about these little Zicknin 1300? Are you worried about the MDA and level and off and all that stuff? No.
Not really.
So you can concentrate on your configuration and your airspeed. But as soon as we got your attention over to this, altitude change, vertical speed, and monitoring distance, and all of a sudden, airspeed and configuration just went out the window.
Yeah, it sure did.
5236 Ryder, contact Chicago Center now 121.27. Have a good day.
And that's why briefing the approach is a lot different when you're doing a non-precision than it is a precision. You can just brief a precision approach and just kind of go over the highlights and because we know it's going to be taken care of. Non-precision, on the brief, you need to start including, okay, I'm going to configure 2 miles per hour of the final approach fix because I won't have any glide path. Once I do configure 2 miles per hour, I'm going to configure fully so that I am going to be crossing over the final approach fix in full configuration.
Just monitoring instead of changing things.
And at VREF plus 10. And do we ever do that in a precision approach?
VREF plus 10?
Do we ever cross the final approach fix at VREF plus 10 fully configured?
Foxtrot, Mike, just doing a test flight.
You could.
No, do we ever do that on an LPV or an ILS approach? Are you ever fully configured at VREF plus 10 when you cross over the final approach fix?
No, not usually.
Never.
I'm way above it.
But on a non-precision, strive to do that.
Okay.
Because you just saw what happens when you don't.
Right.
Because once you cross over the final approach fix on a non-precision, you're going to be really busy monitoring the descent to maintain any limitations inside the final approach fix, or be looking for the runway while at the same time trying to level off at your MDA. So there's a lot going on inside the final approach fix that you need to pay attention to on a non-precision, where let's get the configuration out of the way prior to the final approach fix, which we never do. So that's part of your brief, is, hey, this is an unusual, non-normal procedure. I'm going to do some non-normal things.
Get everything precisely under control.
Right, and that would have helped you, is if you briefed yourself, I'm going to configure 2 miles prior to fully configure slow down to VREF plus 10. And you might even want to say, you know what, I'm going to hedge my bet, do it 3 miles prior, or 4 miles prior, or 5 miles prior.
Criticized for that.
Yeah, right.
Chicago Squawk 6235.
When we get to Valley, are we going to fly the RNAV approach, or it's 1,700 foot ceiling? Are we just going to go visual, or what do you want to do?
RNAV.
RNAV,
Yep.
okay.
So you're teaching me something right now, which I didn't know we could do that here in the Eclipse. We're going direct to the runway waypoint. I didn't know we could do that. That's cool.
I'm thinking I should ask him if I could go direct Markwell, if that's the plan.
Absolutely.
Okay.
55 Sierra Radar, contact 3 miles north of the field, Kankakee altimeter 29993, say your altitude.
5355 Sierra is leveling 2000, altimeter 29993.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo request.
Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, Chicago Center 123.75.
12375, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Basically said, go ask him.
Yeah.
Or her. Go ask her.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, level 5000 with request.
26 Zulu Echo, Chicago Center, hello. Go ahead with your request.
We'd like to do the RNAV 36 approach at Illinois Valley, direct Markwell.
And 26 Zulu Echo, clear direct Markwell, descend and maintain 4,000.
Clear direct Markwell, descend and maintain 4,000, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Come on, Markwell, there we are. will be 2 engines?
Yep.
And we'll do a low approach and then you'll take the controls?
Sure.
Okay.
American 2061, do not exceed 270 knots and descend via the chain to arrival, except maintain 13,000.
So this will be a procedure turn. Because of the steepness of the turn.
And I agree, but what's interesting is it's still giving you the option, which means it will do it if you want it to.
Yeah, we got no reason to drive around in circles if we can avoid it.
Yeah, I mean, it's really up to you. Now, technically, per the IFR handbook regulations, you would be expected, if you didn't say anything, you would be expected to do the procedure turn.
Okay. So I need to tell her that we will not do the procedure turn?
That's what I would do. When she clears you the approach, I would tell her, hey, we are going to make a right turn direct on the final.
Okay.
And that's if you can.
734 Chicago.
If she leaves you at 4, then I would use it for getting down.
Maybe we better just do it then. I don't want to get into all that.
Well, no. But if she gets you down to what they did with Greg, they got them down to 3, then yeah, that's fine. You can make a right turn direct.
Wisconsin 6051, increase speed to 300, clear direct chain. Wisconsin 6060, cross chain at 12,000. Southwest 4263, contact Chicago, approach 119 or 0.35.
Yeah, when we're giving initial check rides, the weak point in every check ride is always the non-precision approaches.
17 Papa Lima,
and as you can see, the reason is they're really busy. You got to do a lot of work. You would think non-precision means, oh, it's not that big
so
of a
precise.
deal. Yeah, it's not
less steps.
It's not so precise, so it's really kind of easy. No, it is extremely difficult.
American 2428, contact Chicago, approach 132.17.
The good news is, fortunately, with the advent of RNAVs, 20-some years ago, we don't have to do them anymore. Kankakee, Peru, all these little podunk airports have LPVs. It's great.
Yeah, I hope we never hear the word ADF approach again.
Exactly. And you won't. You will never do an ADF approach. VOR approach is going to be a thing of the past here, hopefully, within the next 5 years.
Oh, I hope so.
And an ILS approach will probably be a thing of the past, with the exception of the big commercial airports, where they need to do Cat 2 and Cat 3 ILSs.
I was reading, though, that technically, according to FAA, the LPV is not considered a precision approach.
Correct. It's still all RNAV approaches are still considered non-precision approaches. But they're going to change that nomenclature. They've been saying they're going to change it for like the last 8-9 years. And the nomenclature, the new nomenclature is going to be approaches with vertical guidance and approaches without vertical guidance.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's all they're going to do.
Wisconsin 6060, cross chain at 300 knots.
Okay, so when we break out of the clouds and finish our procedure turn, then you'll take over the flight controls at that point.
Southwest
I can do it
Chicago,
when we break out, or I can do it letting you do the full approach to a low approach, and then I'll take it on the pull-up.
Whatever you want.
No, it's whatever you want. It's your airplane.
Okay.
It's your fuel.
Take it to the low approach, and you can take over.
Okay.
I'll fail an engine on you. Just kidding.
Okay.
Just kidding.
It just means I have less performance.
That maintains 7,000.
Yeah, I might do that, actually, just to watch how it should be done.
I mean, when you think about it,
Wisconsin.
generically,
60, contact Chicago, approach 132.17.
flying an airplane with two engines, you've got performance numbers. In our case, we have a CLB climb number. So if I want to climb this thing two engines, I'm going to do it per the CLB. You failing an engine,
American 2161,
I'm going to do the exact same thing, other than the performance number changes to VYSE. And in order to keep the airplane coordinated, I've got to get my feet involved. But I'm still flying the airplane the exact same way in my mind to performance.
Yep. Instead of best fuel efficiency, you're doing best climb rate.
For right transition,
correct.
Midway altimeter, 29 or 9 or 5.
But in my mind, whether you have a failed engine or not, and if you pull two engines, in my mind, I'm still flying it the same way. I'm doing the best L over D performance number. And unfortunately, when we're not climbing, we're descending. But from a performance standpoint, I'm still flying, I'm focused on flying the airplane to its performance. And with two engines failed, I'm going to do best L over D, which in this airplane is somewhere about, depending on weight, with this light weight, it's somewhere probably about 110. With heavy weight, it's about 125. But
744 Tango, Chicago Center, low Bloomington altimeter 29 or 9 or 4.
9 or 4, right.
November 26 Zulu Echo. You are 13 miles east of Merkle. Maintain 3,000 till established on a public center approach. You're cleared RNAV GPS runway 36 Illinois Valley.
Maintain 3,000 till established. Cleared to the approach Illinois Valley for runway 36 Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
And Zulu Echo, report Merkle inbound, please.
And report inbound Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo. And
we want to do a procedure turn.
it's up to you.
and we'd like to do the procedure turn on this.
132.17.
Yeah, and in this situation, you don't need to tell her about the procedure turn. She would totally expect it. It's when you're doing this and you're supposed to do the procedure turn, but you elect to make a right turn. That's when I would tell her, hey, I'm going to be a no PT.
Wasn't sure if she was talking to us when she said,
No.
I heard 32.7.
Nope. That frequency, all that it was. Well, that's a bothersome buzz.
Just sitting there thinking, like, what do I need to do to get rid of that noise? I'm not interested in flying it correctly. I just want the noise to stop.
Exactly.
American 2161.
Sometimes we pilots think reading it back is all that's required.
And
you don't have to actually implement it.
In the G1000, the CAS message actually appears on the PFD, but along with the CAS message comes a caution sound that blinks. And to eliminate the caution sound, you have to push a line select key down here on the PFD. For us, we just push this. It gets rid of it. Real easy to do. Well, when guys are learning, they don't get into that mode. I have flown like 30-some minutes with this caution going. Bing!
Oh, really?
Bing! And I'm not going to push it for him. I want him to recognize there's a bing! And some guys just, I don't know if they become immune to it or something, but I finally, after like 30 minutes, I go, do you hear this binging? He goes, yeah, what is that?
We're clear at the approach, so technically we can go to 25.
Okay, let's ask our questions. What altitude, what's our next cleared altitude, and when are we cleared to it?
Next cleared altitude is 23.
And when are we cleared to it?
Passing Markwell.
All right, so are we cleared right now?
No.
No. But I can set it up in the altitude select.
Good idea.
So you can see my two questions is just constant. What's my next cleared altitude? When am I cleared to it? And as soon as I cross over that point when I'm cleared to it and start the descent, I'm asking it again on the next, what's the next cleared altitude? And then once I get a green alt, I set the new altitude and then I wait for the when.
In this case, it's not that far between Markwell and Jody, so we could just stay at 23.
Go back to that page you were just looking at. So what's our next cleared altitude?
23. After Markwell would be 23.
What's our next cleared altitude?
Before I blurt out an answer,
go back to that page. Okay. What's our next cleared altitude?
Minimums.
Nope. From where we are right now, what's our next cleared altitude?
See, we're at 3. It would be 25. Actually, yeah, you're right.
So let's set 25 in there.
Okay.
When are we cleared to it?
Passing Markwell.
Did we pass Markwell?
Yeah.
Go. See, even we're going to fly this as an LPV, but all these step downs to get us down to the IAF, it's like a non-precision. We've got to stay ahead of this thing. It's a lot of work. And this one's an easy one. Go up to Hayward, California. Just look at that RNAV into Hayward, California.
Okay.
And you are a busy Mo Fiddly asking those two questions. What's my next cleared altitude and when? It's like boom, boom. I mean, there's like 10 step downs.
Wow.
And identifying each one is like, ooh.
Chicago is broken. You try it again.
Because when you get into terrain, step downs become a big deal. All right, so here's where we start going into what's our next cleared altitude?
You're welcome.
I would say minimums.
Nope. What's our next cleared altitude?
Well, you want 23.
Yeah, 2300 is the answer. When are we cleared to it?
As soon as we pass Markwell.
Very good. Now here's what's our missed approach altitude? This is where I kind of get a little bit ahead.
25.
Yeah, so we got 25 set. You know what? I'm not going to elect to do the next one.
Okay.
I'm just going to leave it at 25. You can do it if you want. It's just more work.
That's what I was saying. After we pass Markwell, could we just get the glide slope at that point, or the glide path?
Glide path at 2500, yes.
At 25,
but
okay.
Procedurally, what's our next cleared altitude? 23. When? And Markwell. Those are the answers to those two questions. We're just going to elect not to exercise that descent.
In a way we do, though, because if we're on glide path, we go right past 23, right at Jody's, right?
Correct. On the glide path, we'll be crossing Jody's at 2300. So yeah, you're right. We are electing to not descend manually, and we're going to elect to let the glide path descend us to the 2300.
I'm supposed to let her know when we're inbound.
Markwell.
Okay.
Gas 4771, Chicago Center, low, descend view, the team to arrive, hello here, altimeter 29906.
Chicago, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo is Markwell inbound.
26 Zulu Echo, roger, you can fly FR this frequency. If unable with flight service, change to advisory is approved.
Roger, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Looking for a glide path is our next thing. And that'll be gear down, flaps 17.
And she did say change to advisory approved.
If we can't cancel.
Nope. Right now. She said change to advisory approved.
Okay.
Illinois Valley traffic, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo is 5 miles south, low approach on 36 Illinois Valley.
Oh, man.
I wondered why you were so quiet.
It's like, oh, man, you just caught it. You just caught it. So when you go gear down and you hear that auto throttle beep click off, Get in the habit of setting 60%. That'll just make your life easier. In this case, we're pretty light. 58 is probably there. And then we get that annoying train horn with yellow blinking. There you go.
Okay, full flaps.
Aircraft landing or coming in, doing low approach here at the Illinois Valley Regional. How far out are you now?
We are about 4 miles south of runway 36, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo.
Okay, this is Cherokee 5903 Victor. I'm going to take off. We're heading to the north.
Roger.
All right, I'm going to go back and tell them we can cancel.
Okay.
Chicago Center, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, cancel IFR.
Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo, IFR cancel. IFR, you have a great day.
See ya.
2683.
We barely got her.
I have my magenta diamond.
So we're fast because we got 65 set. Not sure how you got up to 65.
Why I chose 165?
No. I'm not sure how you got to 65% when you set 58. You must have pushed the throttles up.
Yankee traffic, Troy 1, helicopter 4 north of the airport, 1900 orbiting, Yankee.
Go visual, sir. And practice.
Approaching minimum.
Practice landing. And so we're going to go down to 50 feet just before you'd go to idle.
Okay.
We're just going to go around.
And I'm going to disconnect the autopilot.
You betcha.
Southwest. We're getting our left downwind forward, 29 full stop chopper.
Stall. Landing gear.
Now, typically, I don't worry about navigating. In other words, I don't worry about the flight directors
landing gear
until aviate is done.
Okay.
So aviate, navigate, communicate. Part of aviating is getting the airplane clean. So there you go. And you'll notice that we're VREF plus 20. In this case, that's 106 knots. How quickly are you at 106 knots?
Immediately.
So I go gear up, 106 knots, flaps up. Now I'm clean. Now I can come up here and do this. Otherwise, you're just sitting here with takeoff flaps, just killing drag. I mean, just it's just the performance is not as good.
All right, you got the flight controls.
All right, I have the aircraft, sir.
Not sure where our friend went. I see somebody 200 feet above us. He is kind of straight ahead here, 100 feet above us.
40 miles, hang on. Okay, yeah. Had it on 40. He's out there.
You're behind him
2 miles out there.
Okay.
1,000-foot pattern in this airplane. I know it's a jet, and they typically say 1,500, but it's a little jet. This will slow down with any little Piper or Cessna if I wanted to. No one's in the pattern, so I don't have to.
Number traffic, 495 Papa Golf, and then left down.
So 700 feet is the elevation here, so 1,700 is my pattern altitude.
Are you going to extend out and then come over the numbers and do a 360?
We'll do an initial. Report initial. It's a nice little airport. 2 runways.
Very.
So what's interesting is the waypoint, Markwell. My brother-in-law, his name is Mark Wenzel.
Okay.
And he owns the winery right here, which is fairly near Markwell.
Oh. Neat.
And he's getting his private.
Oh, that's perfect.
And so he doesn't understand instruments yet, so I showed him the approach plate and I said, hey, Mark.
Named it for his vineyard.
I think you're famous. So here's the vineyard right here. You see that east-west road?
Yes.
As you go up that road, it does a little bend, little kind of a S-bend.
Yeah, I think I see it.
And just to the east...
Color change.
Yeah, just to the east of that S-bend is a big white warehouse with a slant roof.
Okay.
With a bunch of cars on the west side. And right here, the vineyard, see all the grapes right here?
Oh, yeah, I was looking way down there.
And tomorrow, we're picking.
Cool.
Yep.
You do some of the winemaking?
Uh-huh.
That's, we'll talk about that later, but that's a lot like baking bread.
It's a lot of work, that's what it is.
But
it is.
Yeast, carbohydrates, fermentation.
Oh, all of that is about 10%. 90%, it's cleaning machinery, assembling machinery, disassembling machinery, re-cleaning the machinery that you just cleaned 4 hours ago. Illinois Valley traffic, Eclipse 26 Zulu Echo is a 2-mile initial, runway 36, be a left brake for 36, Illinois Valley. I like to do a little low in the descent. Now I should be right over the center line here. So we're about a 500-foot break. And we come up as fast as we can so we can recover as fast as we can. And then we're going to lose all our energy to land in a high G turn. Like I said, this can't really do it. But I go to idle. And if I was in a fighter, I'd be at 6 to 9 Gs, depending on what airplane I'm flying. And as you can see, we went from 250, now we're coming at 160. I can throw the gear down, and we end up on a downwind below 150, and that's basically where I would be if I was just coming in and reporting downwind, right? Right? Yeah. So that's the objective, is you're going to recover to the airport as fast as you can, and then do the brake to reduce the energy so that you end up on downwind in the normal airspeed and energy state, which in this airplane's 150 knots gear down, and then I'm just doing the rest of the configuration as I normally would. It's just that high G turn is the energy depleter.
How many Gs do you think we were experiencing there?
I'd probably 2.
Seriously?
Yeah. It wasn't that much.
Okay.
Approaching minimums.
500.
And the rest of it is just basically just like you're always doing in a visual approach, is just from midfield abeam, 150 knots gear. The rest of it is just like you always do. Now the Navy boys, they want to minimize their time wings level on final. The Air Force boys want to do the same thing, so people don't get shot at. You make the turn the hardest. If there was a guy with a missile launcher right there, you're making his job the hardest. Whoop. Gear flaps, we're good. One of these days it's going to I don't want to get the rubber too notched up. Look at this. Now I'm just having fun. I think we were down on the left main, and the right main was just probably a half an inch above. I wish just for your knowledge, I wish I would have looked at the airspeed when we were just about to touch down. Because I'll bet it was close to our published VTD of like 70. And that's what the AFM landing distance are based on, is touching down at that slow of an airspeed like we just did, but without excessive float. And would you say that landing was excessive float? Yes, but absolutely. And so the only way to get this thing to touch down at the published VTD is to do what I did, which is excessive float. And the excessive float just eats up runway.
Yeah.
Which is counterintuitive.
It was fun.
How many G's would you say that was, if you just had a guess?
I would have thought it was more than 2 because I practiced 60-degree banks.
And that's like 60 degree. 60 degree I don't think is quite 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I have to look at the chart, but... Like in my little RV-8, it's a 5 to 6 G pull every time.
What's the maximum G's on it?
6. I'm going to park it into the wind.
Good plan.
So I'm going to use that little chalk.
Oh.
It's kind of cattywampus, but we can use it.
I can tell you enjoy airplanes.
I enjoy a challenge. Not to say that I'm always good at it, but it's still fun trying. You got to get this nose around so I can see it first to line it up. Uh-oh, now it's blind. The blind leading the blind.
You're to the right.
I think I am. A little bit, just a little bit. Here we go.
Oh, you're good.
Let's see how close to the center we are.
2 miles to the north.
You're good.
That's funny.
Wind